Looking good. We already have somebody. Is that you who's watching us? I was going to say, wow, that was quick. That was quick. Let's populate it a little bit. Let some people join in as we are live.
Puzzled by this, dude. It's driving.
Yeah, it is. Very strange as all of you are joining.
That was something. We should just ask the people. Hey, I'm trying to do this live chat. Get people in it, too.
We need to talk into the microphone. See, that's why I'm sitting like this so you can look into the camera. And then make sure you turn it. Yeah, there you go. Because the front of the mic right here. So yeah, there you go. There we go.
I'm still learning on the fly here.
What's going on? Well, we're setting it up. We're here. We are out here as we always are, at least for this week, here at Highlands Brewing. Highlands is in the Lake Highlands area of Dallas. A lot of people consider this Garland, but technically it is a Dallas address, just north of 635 off of Miller Road, off Plano Road, however you want to get here. And we will be here until 6 o'clock, hanging out, drinking some beer, talking Cowboys, talking life, talking whatever the hell we want to talk about, pretty much. Of course, we will do a YouTube question and answer session. Take some of your questions from online here at some point later on, but we're going to let some of you guys kind of jump in and join before we really get going, as we always do, because it usually takes a few minutes to have everybody come in and hang out for just a bit. Of course, you can find us on our Twitter at McMatt Radio, at JJT_journalist. And for those of you that are in here right now, we'll go ahead and let you know we will be on Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket on Sunday from noon until 3.
Good times, baby. Good times.
And on Monday, we will also be on Monday. We are filling in for Jake and Dan, and we will be on noon to 3 on Monday on Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket. So you can catch us on the radio. 6 hours coming up. And of course, the podcast, we're doing 3 podcasts a week. We had one that dropped today that had a fantastic conversation. We were out yesterday with our buddies over at False Idol Brewing and had a great conversation about their beers and that brewery out there in North Richland Hills that went really well. That was a lot of fun. We had one of the podcasts this week that dropped on Wednesday featured a conversation with the creator and director of Washed. I was trying to think, like, it has a hashtag on it, but they just call it
Wash.
Is the name of the show, #Wash.
I think it's just Wash.
See, that's what I thought.
But maybe the name of it is #Wash.
See, I couldn't figure that out, but I was looking, I was like, well, hashtag is in the title.
That reminds me, I'm going to the first Saturday.
Ask
there was something I had to do Saturday night.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so we sat down with the creator and director of Washed, #Washed, whatever. It's a local show filmed here in Dallas, and we did about an hour with him on the podcast that dropped on Wednesday and had a fantastic chat about the creative process and all that and how he secures locations around Dallas, how he came up with the idea, and how it's grown into a show now that is a lot, as he put it, filmed in a different way, filmed better than Amazon Prime is now happy to have on their platform. So a lot of stuff this week. Of course, we went through the Cowboys, some of our thoughts on the Cowboys bye week, as they will be off this weekend before getting slaughtered by Minnesota next weekend. So a lot of stuff on the podcast, man. And as usual, we like to thank our sponsors. We have some great sponsors. Some of you continue to sign up as sponsors for the podcast, and for that, we're very much appreciative. Please support our sponsors, because without our sponsors, we would not be able to continue to do this. They're making this happen for us. Blue Star Motor Group. We had a great chat about the Camaro that they have up right now. They've got a showroom conditioned Camaro that retails, its MSRP is over $50,000, and they've got it right now for like $44,991.
They're trying to get your boy to bite.
They should. You should buy it. So check them out at bluestarmotorgroup.com. Of course, the wings at Kroger, big fans of those guys. The Mango Habanero, the Buffalo Blue Cheese, available at most North Texas Kroger locations. Unfortunately, I know some of you will live by some Krogers that may not carry them. Some of them only carry one flavor, but I would encourage you to grab some of those. They're really good when you get an opportunity for that. Freeway Tire Shop, of course, you can check them out. JR and the guys at freewaytireshop.com. You can schedule an appointment, get a quote. They handle state inspections, routine maintenance, oil changes, and, of course, tires. And then Beer Geek Shop in downtown Rockwall.
They hooked your boys up.
They are doing something really cool for us at Beer. No, come on in. No, we're not. This is great. You can talk to us, just whatever you want to do.
Just don't stand in front of the camera there.
There's no camera. It's right here.
Okay, I'm just playing.
You're all good. Yeah, so Beer Geek Shop in downtown Rockwall has put together the JaM Session 6-pack. It's 3 of my favorite local beers, 3 of Jacques' favorite local beers. It's a 6-pack available at the store for $22.50. And I did that. That's $3.75 a beer. I was like, oh my God, that's a deal. I mean, that's a deal.
And it's you put the Hoppenstein Scorpion beer on there. I was going to put it on there.
Were you really?
Yeah, but I couldn't remember the name of it.
Oh yeah.
And so I wouldn't find it, and I was like, Then I got into because I got chastised because I put a seasonal beer on there, even though I knew it was a seasonal beer.
Wow.
Full grown hombre from Tufts, I believe.
Yeah.
But anyway, I didn't want to put another accidental seasonal beer on there, so I took the chump way out and put another one in.
Yeah, there you have it.
It's a hell of a 6-pack.
So check it out.
Drink it.
Yeah, it's actually really good, and we put that together for you guys. So if you want to try some really good local beers at a really nice price that they put that together for you, you can swing by Beer Geek Shop in downtown Rockwall and pick up the JaM Session 6-pack.
Let's see. What else? We got some more sponsors?
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Of course, Fall Saddle Brewing, which joined as an official sponsor this week. Appreciate those guys. They still have some of the JaM Session IPA available at the brewery. You can get it on tap.
Matt drank some yesterday.
I did have some yesterday. They're out of cans, but they do still have some available on tap for you at Fall Saddle Brewing there in the North Richland Hills area. If some of you live in that area, I know some of you have been like, oh, I want to try it, but it's 50 miles away from me. I hear you.
Check this out, though. Check this out. If you show up at Ash and Ember,
then you will not see us because we're going well before they open.
I'll be out there. What time do they open? 4 o'clock?
They open at 4 o'clock. We got to be there at 12:30.
I'll be there at 4 o'clock.
All right. Okay.
If you show up, I'll be there at 4 o'clock. I ain't going to be there at 4:30, but I'll be there at 4 o'clock.
That'll be next Thursday.
Yeah.
Next Thursday, we're going to sit down with Ash and Ember in Cedar Hill.
Right.
They're doing some cool stuff. Brand new brewery that just opened.
And I'll bring you some JaM Session beer.
Wow, that's fancy. Look at you.
I will.
It's very nice.
Plus, we got some T-shirts coming out. We got some mugs. We're trying to figure out how we're going to give them away. It'll be some kind of scavenger hunt within the podcast. It'll be fun, though. It'll be worth it. Worth your time.
Yeah, so check that out. And all that information will be available for you on our website at jamsessionpodcast.com. But we'll get rolling here. And I know some of you come and go throughout the course of us and our conversation, which is cool. We don't all have to hang out the entire time. You're welcome to stay as long as you like. You're welcome to join us if you would like at Highlands. You can come on out here. We'll be here until 6 o'clock this evening. We've seen a few of you out here the last few weeks that we've been doing this. So Tech says, got some feedback on the crow. They're good, but to me, it was more like mango wings and not mango habanero. So,
okay.
All right. Well, you have a palate that can take some heat, I guess. Because I will tell you this, my lady friend has had them and she thinks they're hot. So I don't know what to tell you. And, I get a little burn. I don't think that they're like crazy hot or anything. I think it goes really well. You get the sweet of the mango and a little bit of the heat from the habanero. I think it blends really well. But there you have it.
No worries.
Uh-oh. So Daniel says, I wish you would break your podcasts up in sections. I don't have time to listen for 2 hours at a stretch. Well, this is the great thing. You don't have to start over. You can easily listen to the entire thing. And whenever you're done listening, if you hit pause, you can just come back and pick up wherever you listen. Because I do that I listen to pretty much all the podcasts we put out, and that's how it works for me. Like I was listening in the car on the way over here. It's paused right now. When I get back in my car, it'll pick up at like 21:42 or wherever I left off.
Maybe he's saying he wants more of a time stamp. Where if I want to hear craft beer talk and go right to it, if I want to hear Cowboys talk and go right to it.
There are timestamps, as you will see. I started including those on the podcast notes. So wherever you subscribe to it, it is in the notes. Now it'll tell you at what time certain things begin. So you can just fast forward or get to that section or what have you, and you can just go from there. So no big deal.
Aren't you fancy?
Yep, it's on YouTube. I know it's on Apple and Google and Spotify because I've checked those. So should be easy to jump around if you so choose, because I know not all of you want to hear the beer talk. Some of you want to hear the beer talk and don't really care about sports. Believe it or not, it's hit and miss as we go through that. So there you have it.
But that's what's good about the show, man. It's a little bit of something for everybody. And then for some folks, it's everything for everybody.
I can't hear what you're saying. I have no idea what you're saying. We will continue forward. We'll get going. And we were going to jump in on a conversation about the Dallas Cowboys, because you had an article that I think a lot of Cowboy fans can relate to. It came out in the Dallas Morning News this week that talked about, quite honestly, and I thought it was interesting because I wonder if they have the cognizance on their own to recognize the situation this franchise is in with Steven and Jared.
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not taking shots at them. My column in the Dallas Morning News was really more about them living in a fantasy world. To me, almost delusions of grandeur. I called it a world of gumdrops and lollipops. And I got that from listening to Steven, talk to reporters and talk about, hey, our division isn't any good. Basically, we still got a chance to get to the play. Like, stop it, bro. Just stop. Stop. Even if by some miracle you got to the playoffs, you would get run-ruled if you got to the playoffs. And so, that's to me, and this is the problem with Jerry, man. It's about, rose-colored Ray-Bans, and it's always about this positivity. See, this is not half full, nor is it half empty. You know what this is? This is a quarter glass of water. That's all it is. It's not any more than that. It's not any less than that. That's just what it is. Cowboys don't live in that world, man. Cowboys live in a world of, hey, man, this is almost half full. And guess what, Matt? If it's almost half full, that means it's almost full. And if it's almost full, we're going to the Super Bowl. That's the world they live in.
Pretty much.
And so, my column said, this is really a team in disarray, considering they started the season with such high expectations. What are you talking about? Typical overreaction, Taylor. No, not really. Now if you look at the quarterback situation, now if you just start with that, all right, dude who's supposed to count $37.7 million against a cap whose floor will be $175 million, you do the math, that's a big old chunk of it. And now what are you going to do with that? You ain't wanted to pay him market value. You're always talking about, hey, you got to get guys around. That ain't really Dak's problem.
Yeah.
All right. But you haven't worked out a deal in basically 2 years. And now you got to work out a deal when he's coming off a dislocated ankle and a fractured ankle. And you don't know if he's going to be 100% of what he was, 90% of what he was, 80% of what he was. But you got to work out a deal because you're committed to him. That's what you keep saying. And if you're not, then you got to figure out what your plan is at quarterback, because Matt likes to say this all the time. Whoever you get at quarterback, what are you hoping? That they become as good as Dak is right now?
Honestly, yeah, that is the truth.
That's what I said.
But they've always had this delusion with this franchise. And I was looking at this earlier this week in where this team fits, and we've kind of had this conversation before. Historically, you look at this franchise, and it's one of the great franchises in NFL history.
Historically.
5 Super Bowls counts for something. But the reality of it is, in the last quarter of a century, in the last 25 years, they are closer to the Detroits and the Clevelands of the world than they are of the Pittsburghs, the New Englands, the Giants, what have yous of the world that have won multiple Super Bowls in the last 25 years. And we talk about this, the lack of consistently being able to win when you have it, and it's the back-to-back 10-plus win seasons. And so I went through and I looked at this because I got curious. I don't know why. And so I looked at all the teams in the NFL. Do you realize the Cowboys last had back-to-back 10-win seasons in 95 and 96, right? The only other franchises that haven't had –
let me guess.
Okay.
Let me guess. Since when? Since 96?
Yeah, since the last time the Cowboys did.
I'd say Detroit.
Yep.
How many were there?
There are 1, 2, 3, 5, I believe.
I'd say the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
The New York Jets on the list?
Correct.
That's 3. This last 2 may be tricky.
One of them you wouldn't think of.
The Miami Dolphins?
No. Oddly enough, they had a decent run not that long ago where they had a couple of seasons in a row.
Okay, I got those 3.
Washington. Washington's a 4.
So I'm missing 1.
You're missing 1, and I don't think – it wouldn't be one that you think of because they've actually been in a Super Bowl. They've been in a couple of them.
Oh, the Raiders?
No.
All right, that's 2 strikes. So I've got 1 strike left.
It is.
So we got Dallas, Washington, Detroit, the Jets, the Browns. AFC or NFC?
NFC.
NFC.
Yeah, they've been to 2 Super Bowls since the Cowboys last win. They lost them both.
Really?
They've played in 4 NFC championship games since the Cowboys played in one. And yet they have not had back-to-back 10-plus win seasons.
I feel like a dumbass for not getting
The Carolina Panthers.
You know what? Yes, you're right.
Yeah, and see, you wouldn't think of that because
Plus they're a new friend.
right.
I
mean, they've only existed since '95, so
right.
they've never had back-to-back 10-plus win seasons in their franchise history. Which is kind of interesting. But those are the teams in the NFL. Now, I would separate Carolina, obviously, because of what I just mentioned. They've been in the NFC title game 4 times since they've existed. They've lost 2 Super Bowls. The Cowboys haven't even sniffed that. So the company that the Cowboys are keeping are Cleveland, Washington, Detroit, and the Jets. Those franchises suck. They've struggled to find, as we know, outside of Stafford with Detroit, they've struggled to find the franchise quarterback. They're typically losing franchises that every so often, like the Jets did, every so often they'll rise up and make it to an AFC title game, which is more than what the Cowboys can say. But you look at Washington, Detroit, and Cleveland, that's the Cowboys' brotherhood right now. That's over the last 25 years, they have more in common with those franchises than they do with the franchises that like to parade out Super Bowl trophies like they try.
Yeah, and see, but see, they've had enough good seasons where sometimes you lose track of that, whether it's 07 or whether it's 13, 14 or 16 or a couple years ago, and so they have these seasons, they have these spikes, but they don't consistently stay at that level. And so when I'm talking about it, I'm talking about you got your quarterback situation, you got your running back situation. I don't really think Zeke has declined a whole lot, but we live in a what have you done for me lately world. And we can talk about the offensive line because the offensive line has been very bad this year. We can also talk about the lack of a quarterback.
Yeah.
But the facts are he's averaging 16 carries for 65 yards and 3.9 a carry, which are career lows and everything. But John Oning, Dallas Morning News film analyst, he pointed this out on Twitter. I've talked to some people at the Cowboys about it. And there's a play on there he's talking about that's symptomatic of why you just have to give Zeke a hard look. There's a run-off right tackle. You remember this play he's talking about where Zach Martin obliterates the guy he's supposed to block. And I'm telling y'all, I'm telling y'all, there's a hole this wide. Zeke is running out, and you can see him get ready to stop, cut, and hit it. And you know what happens? Terrence Steele is doing this. No, I'm serious. Go back and look at it if you got the all 22.
Right.
Terrence Steele goes off the ball. He's like on the second level. And as he's doing that, somebody runs right past his ear, right off his hip, right past his ear, right off his hip, and drops Zeke for a 2-yard loss.
Yeah.
And so at that point, Zeke, as he gets the ball and he cuts upfield, he's like, man, this 27-yard run is going to help my average. It's going to be my second 20-yard run of the year. Yeah, baby. Let me see. Should I feed me with the right hand or maybe I'll do the double feed? Yeah, the double feed. And right as he's thinking that, he gets obliterated for a 2-yard loss. And so you ask yourself, is that Zeke or is that the offensive line?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the offensive line, but then, they're paying Zeke to be great regardless. And he was – and I know it goes hand in hand, but the reality of it is when you're paying a guy that much money, I mean, this offensive line is bad.
Okay, now there's another element to this too. The offensive line is bad, and you're paying Zeke to be great.
Right.
But what did Mike Tomlin say all week? Mike Tomlin all week, 2-3 different times said, basically, with Garrett Gilbert, they're going to feed the ball to Zeke. We're not letting Zeke beat us.
Right.
Without the threat of Prescott at quarterback, teams just go, you know what? I feel confident. I'll take my chances with Ben DiNucci and Garrett Gilbert and Andy Dalton beat me. I'll just take my chances. Not let 21 beat me. And so when you put all that together, as you figure out, and here's the kicker to it, as you figure out, you want to pay Dak coming off his ankle, you want to let him go. Because if you let him go, you not only affect Dak in the quarterback position, what's the effect? You affect the running the running back. Because without the threat of throwing the ball, I mean, you talk to the Cowboys, the ones who aren't delusional within the organization, and you ask them about Zeke, and they say, I promise you they say this. They say, why do you think Dak was leading the league in 20-yard completions this year, and why do you think he was top 5 last year? I said, probably going to think it got something to do with Zeke. And they go, yeah, because teams still respect him. They fear him. They play for him. And that opens up all that other stuff. So it goes hand in hand. And so, you just have to, again, these are just questions, hard questions you got to ask. Just like you got to ask, is Jalen Smith worth the money, or is it already time to plan his departure?
Yeah, I think they have to ask some of those hard questions. But they have to look at this, and we've talked about this as well. The reality of it is that really this window to win, because you hit on Dak and because you were able to get Zeke and you had that year that you did when they were rookies in 2016, this window to win really has been extended from the Romo era into what now is the 5th year of the Dak era. It's not like this window is just opening. This window is closer to closing. We've talked about this because of some of the contracts that they have and whether they're mistakes or not. But the reality of it is we already saw Travis Frederick walk away. I would not be surprised. I don't think anybody would. If Tyron Smith looks at it and goes, okay, I'm tired of being hurt all the time, and I can't, much like Frederick did, I can't play at the Hall of Fame, Pro Bowl, All-Pro level that I'm used to playing at, so I'm going to walk. Yeah. So then what do you do? Then Zach Martin's left. Well, we're watching that line right now. Now, maybe Lyle Collins comes back, and that helps you a little bit next year. But you start having these questions when you're looking at this. It's obvious the defense, and this was the whole thing to me about the Jamal Adams. Should we get him? Should we not? What have you? They're not one guy away on defense from being a Super Bowl contending, even average at best defense.
No, they need a lot of pieces.
And so I think that's where the franchise, Jerry and Steven, have to look at this and say, can we fix this to where we can still compete at the level we thought, or do we really need to make some hard choices? Because if we're going to bring Dak back, you can win with them. And you may be able to change some things and bring in some different guys to switch this up. But part of it to me also is Mike Nolan. If you're going to go with Mike Nolan and that's your dude, then you've got to bring in guys that can perform in a 3-4. Because It's obvious some of the pieces that they brought in, the scheme, which, and I know this irritates the hell out of me, and I'm sure it does a lot of you, that originally we were told it's not about the scheme. It's about the players. Right. Well, apparently that's wrong.
Apparently it's clearly about the scheme. And the other thing is it's not just a 3-4 because just like West Coast offenses, that's the offense. But Kansas City's West Coast is different than Green Bay's West Coast. It's different than the Raiders' West Coast. It's different than the Eagles' West Coast. All right. Well, the 3-4 defenses, they're all different. Pittsburgh's is different than the one Wade Phillips ran, and it's different than this one. But here's the deal. Cowboys, and again, it's about mindset in the sense of this. The Cowboys the last 6 years have acquired players who attack, seek, and destroy. They go to the ball carrier, go get it. This scheme requires you to read and react. I mean, there's nothing more polar opposite than that. Instead of seek and destroy, it's be patient and read it and then go react to it. Dude, do you know how hard it is for people who their whole life? Because just think about it. You just didn't draft a guy to seek and destroy. That guy was seeking and destroying in high school and then Pee-wee football. Since he started playing football, his whole thing has been seek and destroy. And now you asking him, hey, don't do that, dog. Just read and react. That's why you end up going, guys are hesitant and not sure what they're doing because it's unnatural to them.
Yeah, and again, I know some of you saying that the stream lags and it's hit and miss sometimes, so you just have to kind of bear with us. I know some people have no problem with it, some people do. So
yeah, like
you never know.
let me tell y'all this: it's perfect on Matt's computer, and it's choppy as hell on my iPad.
Yeah, I don't know what the solution is.
That's what I'm saying. We're sitting right here. So,
well, other than to like directly plug into an Ethernet connection would be the only way that you could cut that down. But it is, because what happens is people come in, they jump on the Wi-Fi, and so then it's going to lag, and then more people that start doing that. I mean, there's really no way around that.
Some of that is just our popularity. The fact that we got extra hungry people in here watching.
Yeah, what can you do?
Slows it down. Hamsters can only run so fast.
Yeah, I mean, so. It's to get back into the original conversation. I don't know what it is because it's always been over and over. The repeat of the process is seemingly is always the same. It never changes. We've never seen it change. It's been for 25 years. It's been the exact same thing every single time.
I mean, they lose different ways. They try to, they try to win the same way. See, the problem is the Cowboys will tell you, this is my interpretation of what they'll tell you. They'll tell you this is not our fault this year because of COVID and injuries and this and that. And, man, the problem is it's never your fault. It's never your fault, but ultimately the results are the same. And so for me, I think my only deal to them was you need to look at and ask some real hard questions to get some real hard answers so that you can try to right the ship and make a run before these guys are too old. And, they're in their athletic prime now. Like, I had somebody chastise me the other. Not that I cared, but hey, it happens. You always overreacting, man. Zeke's only 25. Because I said he's closer to 28 at the end of his career than the beginning.
Which is true.
Dude.
Unless he is a GOAT along like the likes of Emmett or Adrian, which after this season, we don't know that.
Right. I mean, because I said, matter of fact, I phrased it like that because who knows? I said he's closer to 28 where running backs traditionally began a steep decline. Now, again, you don't have to be one of those at 28 who declines. But history says 95% of running backs decline at 28. And you, as I like to say, y'all ain't got to believe me. Seriously, go to Pro Football Reference and go look up cats like LaDainian Tomlinson, who had like 1,700 yards at 27 and like 800 yards at 28 or 29. Go look up somebody like Sean Alexander, 1,700, 1,800 yards at 26, and at 28, like,